Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today I have some children authors on my channel today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Outlaw, author of TickleMites, The Adventures of Raw, Rocky, AJ, and Ramello, and Butternut Adventures, Gamma Loves Strawberries Just Like Ariel. And this is
Rocky,
a TickleMite,
Ramello.
a TickleMite.
All right, welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank
Now,
you.
tell us, what is TickleMite?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. TickleMites are candy characters. When they see a child sad, they sing a jingle. You want to sing the jingle?
TickleMites, TickleMites, 1, 2, 3. TickleMites, TickleMites, clap, clap, happy. Go TickleMites. Poof, poof, poof.
All right, thank you. Woo, yes, okay.
And when they sing this jingle, they turn into candy. Only children can see them as candy. Adults cannot see them as candy because only children can relate, except for Papa and Gamma, because Papa and Gamma were TickleMites when we were younger.
Okay. Now, I need to know about this song, Swag Candy. Somebody explain this to me.
Candy Swag.
Yes,
Candy
definitely.
Swag is my rap single written based on the characters of TickleMites. And TickleMites, these guys are the primary on the song with a few featured guests. Aniston Buchanan, and we had who else on there? Geraldo and some other little babies. My other grandchildren, AJ and Ariel, were on it. But these guys were the primary, so they're rappers now.
Oh, wow. Now let's talk about the book. Tell us all about the book, and you can read a snippet from the book if you like.
Well, I am glad you asked that. I have the book right here. That's one of them. TickleMites, The Adventures of Raw, Rocky, AJ, and Ramello is written. They are candy characters that when they see a child sad for any reason, they sing that jingle and it turns them into candy so that they can make the child happy. These TickleMites, my actual live TickleMites are, and the characters of the book are based on them. They really, truly have a kind nature for making kids laugh, making kids have fun, having fun themselves. So it was definitely based on my grandchildren. And it took me 2 years to write this children's chapter book, off and on, starting it, not starting it, starting it, and finally finished in 2018. April 13, 2018 was the release of this book. It deals with subjects like divorce, racism, kindness, giving, stereotyping, giving, and we use candy to teach those lessons. So children love candy.
Okay. Would you like to go ahead and read?
Sure, I would love to read. I'll read the chapter. It is called Not Your Faults. And you guys remember that chapter? They have read the book. It's a children's chapter book and it targets 6 to 12-year-olds. And it's a book that teaches all kinds of lessons. So this one's called Not Your Fault. And as you can see, there's some kids there crying. And it's chapter 6 of the book. It is. Rocky woke up very early in the morning. This wasn't like him, especially on a Saturday morning. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Dad, he said with sleepyhead's voice. Both parents said good morning at the same time. We are up so early in the morning, said Mom. She also had a sleepyhead's voice. After all, it was only 6:30 in the morning. I'm not sure. I just wasn't feeling sad for some reason. I just was feeling sad for some reason. I didn't sleep very well at night. Are you okay? You're not sick, are you? Come here, let me feel your forehead. I know I shouldn't have let you go swimming yesterday, but you seemed to have the stomach flu. Rocky kept telling her he wasn't sick at all and that he felt fine. His mom felt his forehead anyway, just to make sure herself that he didn't have a fever. What was on your mind, son? Nothing really, Dad. I didn't really have a bad dream or anything. His mom and dad lay back down and told him to do the same. He agreed and he went back to bed, but still couldn't sleep. So he just tossed and turned. He messed up his blankets so good. Rocky didn't like messing up his blankets or sheets too much because he didn't like fixing his bed. So if he messed up his blankets and sheets a lot, he knew it would take more effort to fix his bed. And here's Rocky and Romello on Rocky's bed. Ugh, Rocky grunted. What's wrong, Rocky? Said Romello as he came into Rocky's room, rubbing the sleepiness from his eyes. I don't know. Go back to bed. Rocky grunted with his head covered by his blankets. Okay, Mr. Mean Jeans. Romello then slammed Rocky's room door and stomped off into his own room. Rocky got up and went into Romello's room. Hey, little brother, I'm sorry. I just couldn't sleep all night and I don't know why. Is something bothering you? I don't think so. Are you sick? No, I feel fine. Okay, well, maybe you had a bad dream or something and just can't remember. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go back to bed and try to sleep. Okay, Rocky, I love you. I love you, little brother. I love you too, Rocky. And Romello, as Romello said, as he yawned, in no time, Romello was fast asleep again, but Rocky just lay there tossing and turning and messing up his blanket sheets even more. About 45 minutes later, there was a hard, loud knock at the door, and it woke up Rocky and Romello's parents. What's going on? Who is knocking at the door so early in the morning? Well, go see, Len, said their mom with a worried and curious look on her face. Okay, I'm going. As their dad went down the stairs to the door, he could hear a very sad voice crying with the boys' names. Rocky, Romello, who is it? Who is it, please? It's me, sir, Gianni, cried the voice. As Rocky's dad opened the door, he looked and saw Gianni, Rocky's best friend and buddy, as he was crying. Are you okay, Gianni? No, sir. What's wrong? My mom and dad are getting a divorce. Oh, no. I'm so sorry, Gianni. Is there anything we could do? No, sir. Wait, why are you here so early in the morning and without your parents? Do your parents know that you're here? No, sir. I ran away and I had nowhere else to go. My abuela went back to Colombia last week. I should have gone with her. Then Gianni began to cry even louder. Rocky and Romello heard him and quickly got their clothes on and ran to the family room where Gianni and their dad were. Gianni, what's wrong? Rocky's mom and dad were, Rocky said his mom and dad were getting a divorce. As they were talking to Lenny, Rocky and Romello's dad was on the phone calling Gianni's parents. How do you know that, Gianni? Well, Romello, I was helping my dad fix my brother's car engine. He told me to hand him a hammer and I did. He told me to hand him a socket. And I did. I gave him the wrong tool, but he got so mad at me. So he calmed down and asked me to hand him a wire cutter. But again, I gave him the wrong tool and then he really got mad again. He told me to forget it, just stop helping him. Then he told me to get the tools together, put them in a toolbox and carry them to the garage. I did all that, but then I dropped the toolbox to the ground and all the tools fell out. He was so mad that he went into the house and left me outside. I picked up all the tools, put them back in the toolbox, took them to the garage. I went into the house to say sorry to my dad for messing up. He and my mom were yelling at each other. My dad stormed out the house. Then my mom came downstairs and told me to sit down. She then said she had something important to talk to me about. She said that she and my dad were getting a divorce. She said she was sorry and ran upstairs crying so much. Her eyes were puffy and all that stuff. I said, Mama, I'm sorry. She didn't say anything. She just cried even more. It's my fault. I made my dad so mad by giving him wrong tools and dropping them on the ground. Now he and my mom are getting divorced, so my dad wants to leave my mom. Gianni began crying so hard that he couldn't catch his breath. By then, Rocky and Romello's mom was there. She told Gianni that it wasn't his fault, but he didn't even hear her because he was crying so hard. Rocky and Romello knew what they had to do. So they ran into Rocky's room and got on their walkie-talkies. AJ, over. AJ, over. Hey, guys, what are you guys doing up? So, hey, he couldn't even finish before Romello cut him off and said, AJ, we have an emergency, over. What's going on? What's wrong, guys? Over. Remember my best friend Johnny? Over. Yep, over. His parents are getting divorced. He's here crying so bad that he can't even catch his breath. Over. Oh no, over. Mom and Dad. Mom, Dad, AJ yelled. AJ, what's wrong? What's wrong? His mom said, I must go over Rocky and Romello's house, Mom. Remember Rocky's best friend Gianni? Yes. His parents are getting a divorce and he's over there crying so hard that he can't catch his breath. I need to go over there and help my cousins cheer him up. That's Rocky's best friend, Mom. Okay, slow down, baby. I'll get dressed and take you over there. Oh, poor boy. I know his mom and dad. His mom was my boss at the designer company I worked for. She's so nice and pretty. Okay, are you ready, AJ? Yes, Mama, let's go. AJ's mom gave his dad a kiss and said she'd be right back after she dropped AJ off. He said, okay. AJ, please tell Gianni for us that we're sorry. Okay, Dad. See you later, Dad. Okay, son. As soon as Auntie Jen pulled up to Rocky and Romello's house, AJ jumped out of the car. Hi, boys, Auntie Jen said as the boys pulled AJ into the house, and they ran and went into Romello's room. You know what, guys? You know what we have to do? Yep, let's do this. Sing the jingle. These are their TickleMite candy characters. The TickleMites are here. Rocky's hair was all orange candy beads. His shirt sleeves were beaded with green hard candy and smelled like green hard candy. His pant legs were each red licorice, and his shoes were each a banana sundae with cherry at the end. Romello's hair was locks of black licorice, and his shirt was a blue sheet of puffy cotton candy, and it smelled like cotton candy. His pants were dripping banana pudding, but it never seemed to drop to the floor. His shoes were thick peanuts with shells still on. AJ's hair was an afro of pink cotton candy. His shirt was roasted coconuts, and he smelled like coconuts. His pants were oozing chocolate ice cream, but it never seemed to touch the floor. His shoes were also banana sundaes with cherries on the top. After they each looked at each other with amazement, they quickly ran to the family room where Gianni was. Gianni, your parents are on the way. Mr. Lenny, I don't want to see my parents, sir. I don't want to talk to them. Rocky and Romello's dad didn't say anything. Their dad went into the den to speak with their mom. Whoa, TickleMites, what are you doing here? You're not going to make me laugh. Gianni remembered the TickleMites from school. My mom and dad are getting a divorce, and it's my fault for making my dad so mad. The TickleMites knew that just by looking at them would not be enough to make Gianni smile or laugh. He was too upset. These are the TickleMites laughing at each other, but their friend is not laughing. So they circled around him, and at the same time, they touched him. Poo poo blasto charu! A splash of caramel came oozing from each of the TickleMites' fingers and covered Gianni's hair. The TickleMites told him that his parents are getting divorced, but it was not his fault at all. They said divorce happens sometimes when two adults can't get along and they always fight. They helped Gianni remember his parents fighting all the time about a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with him. He also remembered that after dropping the tools, his dad said it was okay, that he wasn't mad at him. His dad said he had a lot on his mind. Then Gianni's face began to get a little happier. He didn't smile, but the TickleMites knew that they would have to be satisfied with at least him not crying and out of breath. So they went back to Romello's room and they sang the jingle to turn back into Rocky, AJ, and Romello.
Tickle mites. Eagle.
Not his fault. By this time, Gianni's parents had got to Rocky and Romello's house. Gianni ran to his parents. Mom, Dad, oh my goodness, sweetheart, we were so worried about you. Why did you run away? I thought Dad was so mad at me that I just thought that you were getting a divorce for my reason. No, 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 son. I'm so sorry. Do you remember I told you I had a lot on my mind? Yes. It was all this stuff your mom and I was dealing with. Please, Gianni, this had nothing to do with you at all. We need you to know that you're okay, mijo. Sí, papá. Lo sienta mamá y papá. No lo sientamos mucho, mijo. Te amo mucho, mijo. Yo también te amo, papá y mamá. Then Gianni and his parents began to hug each other so tight, they began to smile instead of cry. Then Gianni knew it was not his fault at all that his parents were getting a divorce. He wasn't all the way happy, but he knew his parents both loved him and he loved them. This is him with his parents.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we did not get to hear them singing. It every time they start singing, it will get low. So can y'all sing that one more time as loud as you can into the microphone?
Turn back into TickleMites. Sing it to there.
Tickle mites. Tickle mites. 1, 2, 3. Tickle mites. Tickle mites. Tickle. Poof, poof, poof.
Okay, thank
Was
you.
that better?
No, I can still barely hear them. I can hear just a little bit.
Maybe if they sing it one at a time.
Okay, just go get up to the mic and sing
Right,
it.
to the mic right there, baby.
Okay. Tickle mites, 1, 2, 3. Tickle mites, clap, happy. Go tickle, poof, poof, poof. Blast up,
Okay.
And you can turn back into Romello. Sing the one where you turn back into Romello.
Tickle mites, 3, 2, 1. Tickle mites, we are done. Giggle, happy, complete. Not
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, where did you get the inspiration from?
Inspiration was my playtime with my grandboys. You know, we're always tickling our grandchildren, even if they're sad for some reason. We try to tickle them to make them happy, make them giggle, make them laugh. There's one great sound, a beautiful sound that is beautiful to my ears is the giggle and laughter of children. I love to see children happy, love to hear the giggle of children, that kind of gut-wrenching giggle when they just laugh and they're on the floor and they can hold their stomach. Then usually people tickle kids to make them laugh like that. But I thought if I could come up with some stories that would give lessons and make children happy and giggle and laugh, then that was the inspiration that I needed. So it was my grandboys, my grandsons. My granddaughter wasn't born at the time I started this book, so she has her own adventures.
Okay, that's butternut.
Yes, that's my butternut.
Okay. What is the most important when writing a children's book?
The most important, you have to think with a child's mind. What language are they going to understand? What verbiage? how will you get your point over to them without speaking over their head? Sometimes some children's books can do that. They can speak over a child's head and they totally miss the lesson. Well, here, it's told from the story of Gianni, the not your fault. He's telling them that he's thinking it's his fault, which is typical in a divorce situation. Kids think it's their fault, and the parents are always trying to get over to them that it's not your fault. We love you. So here, TickleMites gather together and they help Gianni realize that it's not his fault, that his mom and dad are getting a divorce. It's on them, but though the two parents love him just the same.
Mhm, mhm. What do you love most about writing stories for children?
Oh my gosh. When I start typing any story for children, my mind just, I'm really just elaborate with it. I love very explanatory stories that goes into details and tells you what's going on and what is laying around in their bedroom. What are the children looking at? What is their inspiration for going through or dealing with circumstances or situations like what they're dealing with? So I'm just very elaborate and very detailed oriented when I write for children. I want them to actually be able to vision the whole story. Vision what's going on, what's in the room. Are there toys laying around? Is their bed messed up? What are the kids thinking in the story? So that it leaves no room for the child to say, I don't understand what's going on in this story. They perfectly understand. So yes, my way of writing is just to ensure that the child and think like a child and to make sure that they understand what's going on in the stories.
Okay. And I love the illustrations. Can you talk about that a little bit? Who
Thank
did them?
you. Yes. His name is Josh Jackson. He now he lives in close to where I live, but he's now doing body art. So he is no longer my illustrator, but he's a sketch artist, more of a sketch artist. He didn't use any digital artistry. He brought this vision to life. And the first time I saw the TickleMites on the cover for the cover page, I actually cried because it was my vision of them coming to life like that. And it was so beautiful to me. It's one of my happy places. Anytime I need a happy place to go to, I actually look at my book, look at my cover, and it's definitely one of my happy places. So yeah, he brought that to life. Volume 2 of TickleMites will be out sometime next year.
Okay, all right. What topics do your book wait a minute. What topics do your book cover and why are these important to you?
It covers topics that are very or should be very important that children understand in their lingo, in their way of talking. Candy, most kids love candy. It's rare that kids do not like candy. And I use candy to teach these lessons about divorce, as the story told that you just heard. And what I do is I don't target the specific topic. I target what's going on in the story. For instance, there's a chapter that deals with bullying. And instead of the TickleMites going to the bully, the child that's being bullied, they go to the bullier to find out what's going on with him. Why is he bullying kids? So they target him. So if we get an understanding of the all around situation, yes, we want to cater to the victim, but we also want to find out why the bullier is bullying, because if we can get to that, he won't bully anymore. And then we won't have any more victims. So yes, we do want to go to the victim and comfort them and let them know that we are taking care of the situation. But we also want to, instead of coming down hard on the bullier, we want to find out why is he doing this or she, why are they doing this to other kids or other people, and get them to stop, help them to understand why they're doing it. So it's a very interesting chapter that the TickleMites go to the bullier to get him to stop bullying. So I deal with also giving, kindness, stereotyping. We deal with racism in the book, and the children talk to other children who have learned the behavior of racism, and they target those children as opposed to going to the parents who have taught it. they go to the children to help them learn that they can be a different way. They can understand the different races and still be friends with those races.
Mhm. All right. Why do you think it's important for children to develop a love of reading?
Oh my gosh, reading takes you to places that maybe a child can't go to.
Mhm.
You can travel with books, with reading books. You can learn all aspects of different people, different genres of people, different worlds. It's a great way of learning. There was one of my grandchildren who was having trouble reading. This was last year, they were having trouble reading. And I asked the teacher, I said, well, I don't understand. This child reads very well. Ask them to read to you. They can read, they can, they're very articulate in their reading. And the teacher gave me this insight. She said, when you're in the younger stages of learning, you learn to read. When you're in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, you're learning to read. She said, when you're older, you're reading to learn. And I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. So having trouble comprehending what they're reading, that's why she said the reading grade was so low at that time and they were having trouble in reading. So it's very important to get them to read, to understand each other, what's going on within themselves. There's so many books out there, and I love that we have so many African American books that have African American characters, because now my grandchildren can read about themselves.
Mhm.
They can read about other African American children, what they're dealing with, what they're going through, and understand them better, and they can understand each other better. So yes, they're reading to learn now, and it's very important to read.
Okay, we have Romeo and what's the other one name?
Romello
Romello.
and Rocky.
Oh, Rocky. Rocky, what do your friends say about that you have a book with you in it? What do they say about that?
Yeah, they like to read because some of my friends they buy it sometimes and they listen to the CDs. Yeah, they think it's really cool that I have a book.
Okay. Um,
Romello.
Romello, what do your friends say about your rap song and your video?
Some people want to be in it because they think when we sing on like Spotify or something, they want their voices want to be on it too.
Mhm. And I love y'all YouTube channel where y'all acting up and acting silly and all in the kitchen and slide across the floor in
Oh,
your
she
in
saw
your
your
socks.
videos.
My son does that too.
They are very animated.
Yes. What is your writing process like?
My writing process, I like to be in an aura, in a mood. And when I sit down, the flow just comes to me. It's rare that I have what people call writer's block.
Mhm.
All I have to do is think about these guys and my other two grandchildren, and it just comes to me. The stories come to me. And life is a story. Life is a story. So when I sit down and typically the vision comes to me, it's in my head first before I put it on paper. And then when I sit down, the words just flow. They just come to me. So I have to just get in the mood. Once I do, I'm sitting down and I'm just going at it. So Butternut Adventures, well, the series number 2 of Butternut Adventures will be out hopefully before Christmas. It's with my new illustrator now. And I wrote that in about 3 weeks. It took me to write it. It's fully illustrated. There's about 25 pages of texting and about 25 pages of illustration as well. So all I had to do was think of my little princess and the story just came to me.
Okay. I was just about to ask you about the butternut. Tell us about butternut.
Butternut, her name is Ariel, and Gamma, which I'm called lovingly by my grandchildren. They call me Gamma. And so it's about this kind little girl. She's very, very kind, very giving, very affectionate. And since she wasn't born at the time TickleMites was written, she has her own adventures, and her adventures are more about her kindness, her ways of giving and wanting to love on people. So I think the book number 2 is really going to pay tribute to her kind nature, her kind giving nature. Butternut Adventures is about her closeness. This one, Gamma loves our strawberries just like Ariel. It's about our bond, she and I. She's my only granddaughter. She's the baby. She's my little diva, and she bosses these guys around. So it's about our bond together, and she's a very, very special little girl. It's all
Now,
my grandchildren special.
now all your grandkids, they're brothers and sisters or cousins?
No, these 2 are brothers. And AJ and Ariel are brother and sister, and that's their first cousin.
So
Their
how old?
mother, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Their mothers are twins. So it's my twin daughters.
Okay, and how old are your grandkids?
Rocky, how old are you?
10,
Romello?
8.
AJ is 6 and Ariel is 3.
Okay, okay. What do you find is the hardest part about writing?
You have to let go of the distractions in order to do it. Everyday distractions, I think, would be the hardest part. You've got cleaning to do. If it were up to me, I'd hire somebody to clean and I would just write. Also, all other aspects of publishing would be the hardest part about writing, formatting, editing, all of that kind of stuff. Although I do edit my own books and I do edit for others. Those things I would like to just write the story and hand everything else over. If I could do that, it would be so much easier.
Yes. Could you tell us about your own path to publishing?
Yes. TickleMites, when I started that in 2016 is when I started it. Oh my gosh. My husband and I are always watching these movies where, we see a character on the movie get mad, throw their phone, or they just throw their computer or throw everything off the desk. And we always were like, that doesn't make any sense because now they have to buy a new phone, or now who's going to pick up everything and put it back on the table? Well, yeah, trying to get this book out, the TickleMites Adventures book, I actually fantasized for the first time about throwing my computer out of the window. If I could have done that without having to buy a new computer, I would have done it. Well, it goes about, some things are not my lane. My new illustrator actually gave me that thought. Sometimes we have to just stay in our lane and hand the other stuff over. So trying to format it, trying to get it to fit. And I'm an indie author. I'm a self-published author. So I use a company called Ingram Spark, and I really love them. They kick blast it to all the big book venues and globally. So my books are now in Russia, they're in China, they're in Canada, Australia, and I think that's it. So yes, and they're written in Spanish. They're in Spanish.
Wow.
So I love that part of it. And they do have services that help you along the way. But I was at that time, I can do it myself. I'll be fine. And yes, sun up to sundown, trying to format that thing. My computer would have been out the door.
Do you have any future children's books in the works? And can you tell us anything about them?
Yes. If you notice on my pages, I use the hashtag Papa Says Popos. Butternut, in her stories, she talks a language that only she and other children her age understand. The adults don't know what she's saying. So it's a language that she only understands. So in my hashtag, you'll see Walla Walla Ish Ama. She's saying, Gamma loves strawberries just like me, Mama. But all Mama hears is Walla Walla Ish Ama. So in this new series number 2 of Butternut Adventures is Papa's Princess Picks Apples. So it's about her relationship with her papa, but there's more to the story. So in this book, you'll hear her say, Papa says popos, and you'll understand once you read it. So that's series 2 of Butternut Adventures with the illustrator, and that'll be out hopefully just before Christmas. And volume 2 TickleMite Adventures will be out next year sometime. So yes. and that's a children's chapter book. So that one takes a lot more, it's more intense writing.
Oh, okay. What
Mhm.
is your role in the literary community?
I'm a giver. I'm a giver. We will now have, and you'll see some of the invites come out soon, and hopefully you can be a part of it. I am having a women's conference in March 20th of 2021. I want other authors, wannabe authors, writers, wannabe writers, anybody who needs a gamut of information, resource of information to help them along their journey, information that I wish I had on my journey. That's what this conference will provide. We will have vendors, and we have lots of interest. I have 2 keynote speakers already lined up. We have 6 speakers altogether, but 2 keynote speakers. And we already have vendors lined up, VIP and non-VIP vendors lined up for this conference. We're going to start advertising about it sometime this week. And it'll be just a save the date kind of advertising. And we'll begin registration probably in mid-January for that. But I'm a giver. I love to help people along the way. The information that I didn't have, I want to give that to them to make their writing experience a lot more easy than mine was, a lot easier than mine was, a lot more pleasant, and a lot more thoughtful. So I'm a resourceful, I'm a giver, I'm a helper.
Mhm. Will this be virtual or will it be in person?
We're doing in person. Yes.
Here
Hopefully,
in South Carolina?
yes, it'll be in Fountain Inn, which is where I live. There's a venue called Nirvana. We've already booked the venue, and it's here in Fountain Inn, and we will host probably almost 200 people.
Okay. Where, how can readers find you and your books?
I'm glad you asked that, Miss Queenie. I have a beautiful website, www.ticklemitesfranchise.com. You can email me at rebecca@ticklemitesfranchise.com. You can give me a call on my business line, 864-478-8973. I'm on Facebook. We have a TickleMites page, a beautiful page for TickleMites at TickleMites Adventures. We have our YouTube page at TickleMites. I'm on Instagram. I've recently made it a business page because I do mostly business stuff on there. So that's under Becca Guapo, which is a name that I call my husband Guapo. he's my silent partner. So
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
yes, all of my, if this is the jacket to Candy Swag, my rap single. And number 2 of my children's rap single will be out soon. We are in rehearsal with that. So we have a featured guest on that. His name is AJ Nash. He's a cute little kid who's joining TickleMites. So he is now a TickleMite, and he will be a voice on my number 2 rap single that will be out soon. And you can download them on any music venue, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad. I'm so honored to be here, Queenie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Again, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.
Bye.